video I will share my opinion on the Asics Novablast after 157 kilometers of running. First, a few words about my profile and how I use these shoes. You can see the conversion to the English system of measures on the screen. Total distance ran 157 kilometers. Types of runs: short runs 5 to 8 kilometers each. Weather I ran in mostly dry but wet weather as well, at temperatures from 10 to 30 degrees Celsius, sometimes in high humidity. My profile: male, 48 years old, 175 centimeters, 65 kilograms, average cadence 166 to 170 steps per minute. Heel to mid-foot striker. Average 15 to 20 kilometers in 3 workouts a week. My first impressions on testing these shoes were that while the midsole was quite stiff, it absorbs the shock very well, and that the toe box is quite loose and the foot is moving inside of the shoe a little bit. Another thing that I didn't mention initially was that strange feeling of walking in these shoes with 32 millimeters of foam under your feet. However, I didn't notice anything of that kind on the run, so I put these shoes on for an hour-long city walk a few days ago to check it out. For the first 10 minutes the feeling of walking was really unusual. I felt that the heel was driving a little bit backwards when I put the weight on this leg. But after 10 minutes the feeling went away and I finished my walk as if I wore a regular pair of shoes. Asics Novablast was and still is one of the most popular running shoes on Reddit sub Running Shoe Geeks. Users write that this model is love or hate, and I agree with this opinion. Briefly about shoe specs. Weight of the shoe is 270 grams in men's size 9 and 235 grams in women's size 8. The shoe has a 10 mm drop with stack height of 22 mm in the toe box and 32 mm in the heel area. Midsole is made of Flight Foam Blast, which is a blend of EVA foam. Upper is made of well-ventilated engineered mesh. This is a road shoe with neutral stability. It is true to size, but some users recommend those with narrow feet to try to go a half size down. Now stick to my opinion on these shoes after 157 kilometers. I use them only for running, except for one walk I mentioned before in this video. You can see that the upper of the shoe is practically the same as new. There are no wrinkles or scuffs on it. I reiterate my original belief that this shoe is great for summer running, even in hot weather and high humidity, because of the brushable mesh upper. At the same time, it is comfortable to run in them even at plus 10 degrees Celsius. I haven't tested them in temperatures below zero, but I've read reviews that the outsole is gliding on ice. Overall, I would not expect this obviously summer performance shoe to run in freezing temperatures, and would not recommend using them that way. Moving to the midsole. First 25 to 30 kilometers I felt some stiffness and low energy return. Definitely the midsole needs some time to break in. After 30 kilometers the performance reached its optimum condition, which still remains the same. You can see that the midsole also shows no signs of wear or structure changed yet. The outsoles show signs of wear, as you can see on the screen. They are mostly located in the heel area and are not significant. I expect good performance from these shoes up to 500 to 600 kilometers. My overall opinion on running with this shoe: I can say that I consider myself one of the runners who love this model. My runs with the Asics Novablast are more dynamic than with other non-plated shoes in my rotation. Overall, I run about 20 to 30 seconds per kilometer faster in them compared to other shoes. I feel that this shoe pulls me forward as I run and feels easier to run in than other shoes in my rotation. I have to say that I have a fairly wide foot, and even so there is still room in the shoe, which makes for a somewhat unusual feeling. However, I have never experienced pain or rubbed my feet in these shoes. Let's move to the runners' complaints about this model. The main one is heel instability. I will make 2 points on this issue. First, The shoe has 32 mm of foam in the heel area, and given the softness of the Flight Foam Blast midsole, it can really feel unstable. But it is obvious that the only way out could be the expansion of the heel area as in other models, and then the shoe would be more bulky. Perhaps this was a conscious choice of the designers of the shoe to keep this model faster. Second, the construction of the heel counter is pretty wide and leaves room for the left-right slide of the heel inside of the shoe, and this is perhaps another reason some runners are complaining about the stability of this model. Having said that, I will advise beginners and heavier runners, as well as those who run with sharp turns, to test these shoes prior to purchase. Hopefully the designers took the runner's experience into account when designing the second Novablast. In conclusion, my positives about these shoes. Lots of midsole makes my run smooth. Great energy return. Encourages you to run faster with less efforts. Appropriate for wide feet. Potential negatives. Although this shoe suits me fine given my personal profile, speed and type of runs I have, those are 2 points I have to stress. First, use with caution on uneven surfaces, or if you are a beginner or if you are a heavy runner. Second, the shoe is roomy inside, in toe box and heel area. It may feel quite unusual compared to other running shoes you have. Try it on before purchase. This shoe is designed for road running in warm weather, so I will obviously not recommend it to be used on trails or in below zero conditions. I love this shoe. I am completely satisfied with the performance of the Asics Novablast, and I would definitely recommend it to all runners with a profile similar to mine for running on paved roads during the warmer months. Enjoy your workouts and see you on the channel.